So what's up, everybody? We have a special guest today. We have my friend from long time ago. This is a friend I met at Cal State East Bay. We have a cool history. I can't speak too much of the details, but we can say that we met through a lot of bonding experiences, and we did some cool stuff together. And I just wanted to welcome Ricky here. He's a realtor, and he's here in the Bay Area's Fuego y Sonrisa podcast. We brought him on because he's a high value man. He brings a lot of purpose. He wanted to become a realtor, and he actually achieved the dreams that he wanted, which is that. And I know he's helping a lot of people getting houses and these weird and kind of dysfunctional times. He's out there giving advice. He has his own podcast, Tequila, and it has Tequila and Transactions, right?
Yes, sir.
That's
yes, sir.
right.
Check it out. Check it out.
He's has some dope ass tequila podcast.
Yeah.
And so I just wanted to welcome him and just you can talk a little bit about yourself and why you wanted to be a realtor and stuff like that.
I appreciate it, man. Thanks you guys for having me. I appreciate this is a true honor to be here with you guys and just share a little bit about my journey and see if I can provide some value to your listeners and help out in any way I can. But my name is Ricky J. Alvarez, also known as Ricky the Realtor. Work out here in the entire Bay Area, serving families and helping people achieve their dreams of becoming homeowners, property owners, you name it. So me, Fabian, go back pretty long, but we met in college, and I think that was a real discovery period for me. I was able to just kind of get my grasp on business, and that ultimately I graduated with a degree in business, bachelor's of sciences in business, and I minored in finance and real estate, and never thought I'd be doing this for a living, but ultimately I can tell you that everything happens for a reason. And for me, it was just an industry that I kind of fell in love with just because of it's never a dull day. Everything's different every single day. Every transaction's different, and people you encounter that you work with are different. So for me, it's everything just kind of aligned because it kind of sparked my curiosity to help people and just be able to be out in the field. And I'm out here in a golf course right now. Just met with the client. So it's kind of those times where you're able to kind of enjoy the time with people, and now more than ever, just the interactions. And I've been blessed to be able to just help some amazing families become homeowners, and ultimately those clients have become my friends and family. So I'm just grateful to be able to be here and help out. So
that's cool. I think that's really cool. It's funny because when we met, that's something that you were debating between like business and realtor. So what made you lean into the realtor aspect of it?
my man, I think ultimately it was kind of just the environment. I had a real passion for finance and mathematics, and I felt like maybe I was going to be working for a financial firm doing some sort of analytical job, working at a desk all the time, doing a 9 to 5. But I think for me, just it opened my eyes that there was much more than that, and I could be my own boss, and now ultimately be a co-owner of my own business and brand at Boulevard Real Estate. Ultimately for me, it was just the scenery, man. I mean, I wanted to be out and about, and to be honest with you, being a realtor not just opened my eyes up to be kind of I would say the asset or the kind of vehicle that helps people get into their dream homes and stuff like that. But more than anything, I think for me, it's just like it also opened my eyes up to the entire Bay Area. Like I've seen places that I typically wouldn't have seen before if I wasn't working in real estate and going into these different neighborhoods. And I fell in love with Oakland these last few years, and I never imagined I'd be telling you somebody that, but I did fall in love with Oakland. But boy, I was born and raised in San Francisco, and then moved out here to the East Bay. But just to kind of open my eyes up to the entire Bay Area, just being able to have the ability to, more than anything, be blessed to help people achieve ownership in different cities throughout the Bay.
I know Angel has a few questions for you, so I'm going to hand it off to Angel, and I think he just wants to ask you some questions.
I did want to ask you because I know being in real estate has its own challenges. So I wanted to ask you, what were some challenges you have faced so far?
The challenges that I've faced more than anything, I mean, ultimately is being not only a young realtor, but being a minority young realtor. And the aspect that people will look at you and say, well, how much experience do you really have and what do you really know? And for me, I just use that to my advantage because I just can, I put my head down and I work harder than anybody else. So I really let my hard work show, and ultimately always, I'm always driven to earn my clients' business. And I never feel like I should be given anything. So for me, I think it was just the challenge of being inexperienced, being young. I came into the industry when craziness was going on, and it's even crazier now. So I think that makes me way better equipped and way better prepared than a lot of these other agents who were not ready for this digital world, for stepping behind Zoom and doing video and being vulnerable and ultimately utilizing platforms like social media. And a lot of times people get stuck in the past, but for me, I was already coming into a generation where things were changing in the technological world, but in addition to that has kind of overlapped now into real estate. So if you're not really savvy in technology, you don't know how to use video, you're not able to connect with clients than just meeting them face to face, you're going to fall behind. And I think more than anything, COVID has made people become a lot more reliant on technology. So for me, that it's kind of flipped now, and now it's kind of my advantage now. And before it wasn't that I was young and I was, all in tech and right out of college, and I was hungry and eager, but I didn't have the book of business. I wasn't the cliche middle-aged white woman who sells real estate. I was a young, right out of college, Hispanic, educated, Latino who thought he knew everything, but had to learn everything. And more than anything, just learn from other top producers in my same office who would just give a wealth of knowledge if I just, stopped and paid attention to what they were saying at times. So I just try to become a sponge. I became a sponge at an early age, but that was my biggest challenge, just being young, being Latino, and being in an industry that's not common. So,
man, nice.
Wow, that's amazing.
Yeah. How did you even get into it though? Like, I know, like with college and everything, but like, what inspired you? What was that spark that you made that switch?
I think Angel came out the womb because
Fresh.
my parents and all my family are property owners, and the beauty of it is they kept me humble. I never knew that. Like for me, is like I knew I had after school would help my parents like sweep carports and sweep stairwells and do after school jobs with my parents, and I always thought they were maintenance people. What came to find out later in life, as I became a teenager and started really paying attention and learning, and a bit more than anything, my responsibilities grew as I got older. But I came to find out that they were actually owners and co-owners of buildings and apartment buildings. And so for me, since I was a kid, I was always involved in real estate, whether I was sweeping stairs or I was talking to tenants or city officials or lenders or anything of that nature. The same things I do now. So that really got me kind of more than anything ready for this position in this career. But it was that in a combination with I was working at a jewelry store in college. Fabian may or may not remember this, but I was working jobs, going to college, and I stopped working at Outback Steakhouse. I was working at a steakhouse at the time as well, and it just the money wasn't the same, and I was getting stretched thin as it was with school and work. So I dedicated all my time and just kind of moved and went kind of more so full time at my jewelry job. And I was getting ready to graduate, and I remember my boss at the time. She was the COO of the company. She came to me and said that they couldn't afford to keep me there because I was going to be the only college educated employee that they had. And in my mind, I was like, she's right. And I kind of already knew that was coming. So that I think was the nudge and the kind of like the spark that put me in touch with her good friend, her husband's good friend in college, who was still to this day a top producer in the entire East Bay. And, his name is Joshua Simkin England. And, we went from having lunch to now being co-owners of this company at Boulevard Real Estate. So, for me, it was an opportunity to get to know somebody who was doing very well in the business, but get to know somebody who was like-minded like myself. And ultimately we drove each other to be, a top performing company year after year. Or more than anything, we were a top performing team, and now we have become a top performing company. So it was that spark that kind of blossomed to a great, friendship and relationship and business partnership now. But I remember that vividly that, he picked me up in his Mercedes. We went out and toured some beautiful homes. And at the time, for $1 million homes. And you can imagine, you know, over these last few years, that was about 7 years ago, those houses are probably double in price now. But I see these beautiful homes at a very young age, and just really got to kind of, you know, have him rub off on me and hear how he talked to his clients and how he worked his book of business. And it's just something that sparked in me, like, I can do this and I can have fun doing this. And ultimately, if I can have fun in what I do and I get paid handsomely for it, at the end of the day, for me, it was a no-brainer that I could help people and turn this into a career. And that's what drove me the most, just wanting to help people, more than anything, wanting to help my people, mi gente, help all the Latinos reach their goals and their dreams. And for me, I felt like that was my calling, and for me to come and be able to educate them and help them. So, you know, it went from that to blossoming into just a beautiful, you know, kind of beginning, where now we're, you know, doing over almost $100 million in business a year in our company, and helping every year reach their dreams of home ownership. So I think it was worth it to take that lunch, and it was worth it to actually recognize that she was right, and that they couldn't afford to keep me there, and I had bigger aspirations at the time, and I should have, you know, follow my calling. And I think it came to me in kind of a perfect moment. So
correct me if I'm wrong, but that was cool, by the way. Correct me if I'm wrong, though. I think on your first episode of your podcast, you said that when you were 12 years old, you were already talking to agents. Is that true? Yeah, right?
Yeah, that's very true. And then also, I talk about it sometimes that in my 5th grade project, I had to choose, was it 5th grade? 6th grade? No, mind you guys, 8th grade. Before I went to high school, to technically graduate 8th grade, we had to write a paper, research paper on what industry we wanted to be in as when we were an adult. And guess what I chose? I chose real estate. It was like,
you already had it.
I knew I could write a paper on real estate. I could just ask my cousins and my uncles. I'll be good. But come to find out, that's what I want. That's, you know, what I grew up to do, and what I, you know, more than anything, what I love to do. But yeah, I mean, at 12 years old, I mean, my parents, my mom was raised here, so her English is really, really good, but my dad's English is terrible. And I remember that my dad used to just hand me the phone. He'd say, "Here, talk to this agent and tell him this and that and this and that." So I was over here carrying conversations with people like myself at 12 years old. So that, you know, I had to step up and translate more than anything. I just had to be comfortable.
Man, nice. That's crazy. Like you dreamed it when you were a kid, and now you are the dream that you once dreamed of.
I credit of that, though. He thinks he was the main reason for me becoming a real estate. But yeah,
you did it right.
A little bit.
I get a little pots with that. Holidays coming up, you better get on something nice.
Oh wait, yeah, for sure. It doesn't limit. Yeah.
Nah, that's such a crazy story. Like starting as a young kid, translating to now having your own, being able to have your own company, and you know, I'm guessing you guys are also hiring, you know, people of your stature and stuff like that.
No, we're not just here in the East Bay. We also started a little branch out in Arnold and Murphy's up by past Stockton in the mountains. So we also can help with your cabin needs. If you want to go out and have a cabin out in the mountains and hang out with the bears, I mean, we got you. We can take care of you guys. But yeah, I mean, the sky's the limit for Boulevard. We're going to continue to expand and grow, and you know, we're just trying to help agents, you know, get into a place where they can be successful. And I think what makes us successful is that we're just so team oriented, and we want to help, and we're willing to share. I mean, if I'm willing to be able to give an agent some of my wisdom and he can use that to be successful, then by all means. And more than anything, you know, just to help our young culture, our young kids in our culture, and you know, to try to get out of the, you know, the traditional state of mind that, you know, college may not be for them. But you know, I'm always telling kids, like, go to college and then come talk to me. You know what I mean? You need to go to school. You need to, you know, more than anything, just establish yourself and just research. You know, maybe you want to do something else in life. The easy way out isn't just looking at where you're going to get money in and just quick money. And to be honest with you, real estate ain't quick money, and it's a lot of hard work, and people don't see the behind the scenes. And for me, you probably would have asked me my first couple months working as a real estate agent, like, you know, what was on my mind. And in my mind, I wanted to quit. I wanted to quit after 6 months because it was a lot of hard work, and I didn't see any business come my way for 6 months. and I was just kind of just doing what everyone told me to do. I even started going and actually applying to work at different banks, and, you know, to try to get a 9 to 5, because my money had been depleted. My first time in my life, I had to go ask my parents for money. The most embarrassing day of my life. But now my parents asked, you know, to borrow money from me. So now I can relate you. But no, I mean, it's because there's a lot of hard work that goes behind the scenes. People don't know that you're in real estate, and ultimately, if they don't know, well, then why would they call you? So, you know, for me, it was just establishing myself and getting, you know, real estate for me was, you know, something I wanted to do, but it wasn't making me any money from the get-go. So, you know, I kept with it. And, you know, thanks to a lot of the people at my office that encouraged me to keep going. You know, shout out to, you know, the Torre team, shout out to, you know, my mentor, Josh, and everybody else that I worked around that were like, dude, you got to keep doing what you're doing. You're going to be fine. And, you know, for me, it was tough because, you know, you're making all this effort, but there's no money coming in. So then you're kind of contemplating, like, what did you really do? Because it's expensive. You know, you got to pay dues, and you got to, you know, pay for things to market yourself, like business cards. And, you know, by the time, you know, you get into it, you pay all your fees and you buy your signs and you do this and you do that, you're almost out $5,000. So at that point, you're you know, you're hungry to get that $5,000 back, because typically on any sale right now, in the Bay Area, you're going to make that money back on the first deal, but you got to get that first deal. That's the hardest part. So, you know, I really utilized social media back then and just put myself out there and gained a presence, and just was trying to get in front of many people as possible. And, you know, I got that one phone call, and that one phone call, you know, now the phone doesn't stop ringing, but before I was trying to get it to ring as much as I could. And, you know, I got that one phone call, and now the phone calls just keep coming in. So
Was there like a mindset change, or what was the difference between having, you know, going from zero and then now to where, I mean, there's obviously like a shift, like right? Mm-hmm. Yeah. So what was there an attitude change, a mindset change? What's something that changed that helped you achieve where you are now?
Yeah, I think the mindset was there, brother, but ultimately it was just kind of reaffirming in myself that I was doing everything possible, and just having more trust in the process, because I was trying to see all these results, and I wasn't getting them. And it wasn't until I went to my mentor, and I went into talked to other agents. And I'm like, what am I doing wrong? And they're asking me, well, what are you doing? And I'm over here telling them I'm doing this, I'm doing that, I'm doing this, I'm doing that, I'm doing that. And they're like, jaw drops. They're like, dude, just be patient. Keep doing what you're doing. You're going to be fine. I'm like, but I'm not making any money. And they're like, just keep doing what you're doing. And I think it was like a week or two after that, I get a phone call from a cousin of mine who's like, hey man, landlord's kicking me out. I need to buy a house. You ready? And I was like, dude, I was born ready. Let's go. Let's go.
Oh man, yeah. That's such a great story, man. Mm-hmm. There's a lot of learning lessons people can take from that. You know?
Yeah, man. I can't tell you how many times I've seen young agents come and go because they don't trust the process. They're not willing to kind of wait it out and just see what the fruits of their labor are going to be. For me, it was like, you know, it was that reality check. Like, yo, you're doing everything you can. Be patient. Results will come. And, you know, I've had agents time and time again. I used to have my managers come and introduce me to these young agents, and be like, oh, you can learn a thing or two from Ricky, because, you know, I was doing things where people were getting upset that I was doing them. Like, I literally was inviting people to come to my office in downtown Walnut Creek and come have a beer or a coffee with me and just chill and talk real estate. And this was a time when there wasn't that much business to go around because the market wasn't as aggressive as it is right now. And then there was just an attitude change in the market where people started, you know, really wanting to buy homes. And so I just have people, you know, try to come and invite people to come over to my office and educate them. And more than anything, just try to, you know, get more people in the door. I remember getting in trouble for that because I was offering free parking in downtown Walnut Creek. My boss was like, "You can't be doing that." If they're my clients. And then I was like, well, someone hated on me. I know that much. I know somebody was like, oh, this kid thinks he can do this. And I was doing it and putting my signs out, trying to get foot traffic in the door. And, you know, I was just doing everything imaginable to try to get business. And, you know, I just stayed true to my plan. And ultimately, you know, finally I got, you know, started getting results. And to be honest, I don't do anything different. I keep doing what I'm doing because I remember the first thing that a realtor told me is like, you know, come from humble beginnings don't forget what made you successful and keep implementing those things, because as soon as you lose sight of what made you successful and you start giving up on those things that helped you develop your book of business, is the day that your business goes into the ground. So it's like, don't get lazy, don't get complacent, keep doing what you're doing. And, ultimately, you'll continue to see results because that they have worked for you in the past. So I was like, all right, cool. And then I always remind myself, like, I got to keep doing that. I got to keep doing that, because I don't want to be that person. I always want to remain consistent. I want people to continue to see my name in the mail, continue to see my stuff being posted online. Just so they're like, damn, Rick doesn't slow down. And it's like, although sometimes people don't know, I've gotten to the point where a lot of that stuff is now done by a lot of my assistants and stuff like that.
Nice.
But still the same look and feel. Everything's still very consistent. And I try to keep it that way because I want people to be like, damn, Rick doesn't slow down. It's like, no, because I care and I want to keep educating people, and I kind of want to, and I still want to be in front of you and let you know that I'm here to help when you need me. So that's been the whole, kind of the whole plan from the get-go, is just to remain consistent and just be available for people.
Man, that's cool. If you have any more questions on real estate, I can kind of switch.
Go ahead. Real estate?
Yeah, because I'm gonna switch a little
Oh
bit.
yeah, so I still have some
ahead.
questions. Maybe you can help the audience, because we're just here to teach people. The whole point of the podcast is to give people a platform so they can see people from the Bay Area making a difference in different types of ways. That's why we brought you here, because you're the type of person that you went to college and everything, but you found something that's better, and you found something that you made your own, and now you're helping other people make their own. You know what I'm saying? So we're talking about real estate, and if we just wanted to ask you, so people that are looking to buy a house, whether it's in this area, what are some tips that they should look for? What are some things to be aware of? Maybe you can share your wisdom on that.
Yeah, I'd be happy to. I think the first thing you need to do is really align yourself with a good realtor, because realtors are connectors. They're going to have someone that you can talk to, so that you can, get your loan so you get a pre-qualification on the loan. Mm-hmm. People that, may need, some adjustments on your credit. You may need, someone to have a second opinion on something. You may need someone to, paint your house. You may need someone to build you a gazebo or a pool. And realtors know everybody. That's our job, is to connect you and have contacts, because we work in the industry of real estate. So we're going to always need somebody to do something, whether it's, doing an inspection or a repair or an upgrade or whatever it may be. So, for me, just growing up in that industry, in that world, I should say, I've come to have a contact for everybody. So if you need your windows done, your roof done, kitchen done, just call Ricky the realtor. He'll take care of you. I got people for so if I don't, my people do. So, so I think that's the number one thing, is just, get in touch with a realtor who's knowledgeable. Really look them up, look up what people are saying about them, check their reviews, go stalk their social media, make sure that person is going to be, align themselves with you and how your personality is. And ultimately, that person is going to be able to connect you to a good, a lender who's going to review your finances for you and kind of get you ready so you guys can develop a plan, but always my recommendation is, get those two people, because you want a really good team effort. People who are going to work for you and with you to get to that end result, to become a homeowner. But, we're going to kind of coach you along and give you a plan. You should always try to save as much as possible, because you never know if the house is going to need some work, or if you're, who knows if you're up to that. But still, at the same time, you want to just save some money, because obviously you still got to buy furniture. You want to paint rooms, different colors, whatever you're going to do. But, you always want to try to save as much as you can. Everyone says, oh, you need 20%. Not true. I think 5% is a great start. And then, as you continue to save, the more you save, the better. Just gives you a lot more flexibility. But, just make sure your finances are good, that you're not overspending. Don't go out and be a baller on a budget. Try to make sure that you're living to your means. Make sure you have good credit, that you're not buying everything up on credit and not paying back your credit cards. You want to make sure you're keeping that on point as well. But ultimately, I think it goes back to just having a great realtor and a great lender at your disposal, because if something needs to be done, we're going to tell you what needs to be done and how we can help get you there and overcome perhaps an issue that is holding you back. And if not, sometimes I always tell my clients 9 times out of 10, they'll get very surprised that they can afford more than they think. That doesn't mean that they should go out and buy it, but that just means that ultimately they're in a lot better financial shape than they thought they were. So it's always about just making sure that you have those conversations. And, that's why I'm here. And that's why, a lot of my colleagues that I respect in this industry are the same way, because we're open to helping. And maybe you won't buy a house this year, but maybe you'll buy a house for me in 5 years, or maybe your friends or your family might buy a house for me. So ultimately for me, it's just about being able to be available and just help educate people. And ultimately just will create a plan to get you there. So it is a tough market. I don't have a crystal ball, so I can't tell you guys all the insight about what may happen.
Right.
But it's a very aggressive market, because a lot of people are realizing that they weren't in the best living situation COVID.
Mm-hmm.
So ultimately what I will tell you guys is that, you want to make sure that, you're just educating yourself, that you have all the information at hand, understand the kind of market that we're in. Because things that you want to look out for is buying a house that may need too much work that you can chew, or biting off too much that you can chew, I should say. Maybe getting into something in a neighborhood that's not too safe for you and your family. That's another thing to really keep in mind. You can change the wall, the color of the house, the roof, you name it, but you can't change where it's located. So always keep that in mind, that you're in an area that you and your family feel safe in. And ultimately that, at the end of the day, it meets your needs and your budget. So don't live outside your means. Like I said, don't be a baller on a budget. You want to make sure that, you're not getting that $1 million house and then you're going to be eating sopachina every night. You know what I mean? So, make sure you're living. And ultimately lenders will also put you in check too. Like they'll tell you, like, you may not be able to afford this. And that's because they're not trying to make you eat top ramen every night. They want to make sure that you're in a good house and that, that you can afford it and make the payments, because they don't want 2008 to happen all over again, where everyone's getting kicked out of their houses and people are getting foreclosed upon. That's not what, our goal is for our buyers and for our clients. Like, we want to make sure they're in a position to be financially stable, and ultimately be in a place that's going to, be more than just a wall and a roof, or 4 walls and a roof. Ultimately, it's going to be your sanctuary. It's going to be a place of worship. It's going to be where your kids are playing, where your kids grow up, where, you guys have great memories with family and have Thanksgiving dinners and all that stuff. So a house is a lot more than a home. I always say that, and ultimately you want to just make sure that everything aligns. Don't try to force anything. Things always happen for a reason.
Yeah, respect.
Wow, a lot of good information there for the audience right there.
Yeah. Cool. Thanks.
So I also have a question, and maybe you can answer, but I'm gonna tell you like 2 stories, and they're just very short. So there was a house that was in my neighborhood. It was like a rundown house. It was the an elderly person used to live there.
Right.
She had like a hole in the roof. The windows were already going. They were gone, and so the house ended up going for sale for 400,000. It had a big lot and everything, right? And so we ended up taking the information from the realtor, and we were trying to, contact. I know I had a family friend who wanted the place because it had a big lot. And so we ended up, giving him that information. And we kid you not, like a week later, that house went from $400,000 and, in 1 week to like $800,000 cash, all cash offers. And it's like, it's been happening more often where I don't know if it's big corporations or just people with a lot of money just buying like janky houses and then just transforming them into like $1 million houses. So I don't know if you have any words of wisdom on that, or what's going on like when it comes to like housing. My brother, who also lives in San Leandro, he's trying to find a house out there, but he's also running into the same issue where these people are coming in with cash offers. And it's really hard to beat like, $800,000 cash or $500,000 cash. So I'm just kind of wondering what's going on there.
Yeah, we've seen a huge demand in housing with bigger lots nowadays because of the ability to build ADUs or auxiliary units. So essentially, people are going to be doing is probably adding on another home or another unit so that they can rent them out and make 2 incomes versus 1. So you're seeing a lot of that. You're seeing a lot of people parking their money because it's really cheap to borrow right now. Interest rates are hovering anywhere between 2.75 to 3% roughly. Depends.
Wow.
Every day it changes. So it's really cheap to borrow money right now. So you're having people who are coming in sometimes with foreign money, people who have a lot of cash on hand, stuff like that. And what they're looking is to park their money somewhere. Ultimately it's become a lot easier to build auxiliary units, ADUs on properties because of California passed a law. I can't remember the prop about 2 years ago or so, so that it can be a lot easier to build on your property. So that's one reason why that house nearby went so quick and so high, was because of the fact that they're probably going to be building something on that lot or rebuilding and building a bigger home on that lot and create, obviously, a bigger sale for them in the future, stuff like that. So that $800,000 is nothing compared to what they're going to put into it and what it's going to be worth when it's done. So there's that as well. And then it's just right now people are moving out of major cities and moving into cities that have a little bit more of backyards and stuff like that. So San Leandro is a city. San Lorenzo is even more expensive. You change two in a city's name and it becomes $50,000 more expensive. So it's crazy. Those areas have just become really high in demand. And because a lot of those areas have those flag lots as well, or lots that are long and narrow where they can build more units in the back. So that's what's going on. But it may start to calm down because lumber has become so expensive. It's skyrocketed almost 3 times the amount what it was earlier this year. So it's becoming a lot more expensive to build right now. So, but ultimately that's the desire behind those lots, is being able the ability to build on those lots is what's going on. And that's why people are buying them up quick.
Okay. That makes sense. Yeah. It's a lot of wisdom there. Thank you. You have any other questions?
No, real estate.
Oh, okay. He's got a lot of other questions.
But are you on? All right. So I'm very curious. I know you have your own podcast, Tequila and Transactions. So, I mean, I don't have tequila. I just have this Bud Light. But I'm very curious to know what made you want to start it and how's it going so far for you?
Yeah, man, it's something I just like to do every month. Just have some fun with some people, in and around my industry. Just be able to kind of highlight them and their business. Just a little kind of step away from myself. Be humble, recognize people I see doing great things in my industry or anything closer around my industry. Actually, I was just bored during COVID, and I was, we didn't have much direction from the state on what we could do at the time. So we were kind of waiting to see what we were essentially allowed to do, if we were allowed to work or what the heck was going on. So there was a kind of a huge gap between March through May. So a little couple month gap there where we're just kind of waiting around to see what we can and can't do. So I just got bored, and I seen a lot of people in my industry doing a lot more like Zooms and podcasts and whatnot. So you know what? I'm going to do some, because I seen some girls do like Wine Wednesdays, and I was like, oh, that's kind of cool.
Yeah, that sounds kind of cool. Actually.
And for me, I was like, well, what can I do? What do I like? I was like, well, I like tequila.
Yeah.
And it just somehow it just kind of rolled off my tongue. I was like, oh, Tequila and Transactions. So I figured to be kind of revolving around real estate, but more than anything, just kind of revolving around just having a good time, being casual, sharing a tequila with somebody and just kind of having that kind of cocktail talk and just being really real. And, I do it live. There's no editing, no nothing. What people say on the show is what stays on the show. Like, they can be vulgar. Do whatever they want. But people are a little honest with a cocktail in their hand. So that's why I figured it'd be a fun kind of event where I could, go live and record it. And ultimately, just kind of share their journey and highlight them. But at the same time, we'll partake in some stories about tequila and talk a little bit about some of my favorite tequilas and maybe some tequila that they like, or maybe some experiences or drinks they like or what have you. And then we'll kind of wrap it up and, kind of give some nuggets to our listeners and let them know kind of the inside tip on either, whether it's real estate or somebody else. Like I had a good friend of mine, Daniela, on, and she was talking, she runs an amazing company where does a lot of social media marketing and helps a lot of companies grow their presence. And so she was on there dropping nuggets, telling people what they should and shouldn't do and how they should get more followers and be authentic, and just giving people like these awesome tips. And then one of my clients was listening, who's an attorney, and he was looking to launch his own business page, his own Facebook and Instagram and all that stuff, and literally hired her right after Tequila Transactions. So just that's the kind of value I want to provide. I don't care about quantity. I care about quality. I care about the listeners. If it's 5 solid people that are listening to my whole spiel, and I'd rather be 5 than 50 people who are just checking in just to talk some smack or just be disrespectful. So ultimately for me, that was kind of the highlight. And that's why I kept doing the show, was because I was like, man, that's just a lot of value there. And she was eternally grateful for that opportunity. And for me, I was just happy I was able to plug them in. So, I just have a lot of fun doing it. I have a show. My show's actually tomorrow with a good friend of mine. What's tomorrow? Tomorrow, Thursday?
Yeah.
No, Wednesday.
Tomorrow's Wednesday. So no, Thursday the 20th, I'm having my show. I go live on my Facebook, and then I record it kind of like you guys are doing, and then I share it to my social media. But I'm jumping on with a good friend of mine who's a lender. So if people have any questions revolving on real estate, becoming a lender, and what does that mean, or becoming a realtor, and ultimately you have any questions about becoming a homeowner, we're going to be on there answering all that good stuff. And he's a cool Irish friend of mine, doesn't really drink tequila, so it's going to be funny to see. But yeah, we're going to have a lot of fun with it. So hopefully everything goes well. We have some, maybe some good positive things come from it. So
I know you talked about one of your Tequila and Transactions that you were like tasting 3 different types of tequila. And in it, you were also talking about how your family owns tequila and knows a lot about tequila. Is that correct?
Kind of along those lines, where we have a lot of land out there from my grandfathers and stuff like that stayed in the family, and we actually have a lot of contracts with major tequila companies like Herradura and stuff like that, who actually grow tequila on our properties. But we also have a family friend who their family's very famous for making cajeta. I'm not sure if you gentlemen know what cajeta is, but it's a very sweet kind of caramel that's made throughout Mexico. So family's very, very famous for making cajeta, but their sons started making their own tequila, which is called La Torre Reserva, and they became very, very famous in the region of Jalisco that we're from because of their tequila. It's all homemade, and it's made locally, and it's some of the best tequila you'll ever have. They don't even used to put a label on it. That's how legit it was. And it was just like some of the best stuff I've ever tasted. And so that's one of my go-tos when I go out there. You can't find it in the States. And, I have a lot of good friends and colleagues and clients who are probably pissed off that I haven't made my rounds, because they always get their once a year that I usually give them a bottle. So if you're listening, don't worry, I'm coming. But yeah, that's the thing that, now people that I know in my sphere and people that that are my family and friends have come to love this tequila as well. So we keep it really near and dear to us because, it's an amazing family, an amazing story. And ultimately, the tequilas tops it all off. But, there's some great tequilas out there that's one thing. There's a plethora out there. There's not just one go-to. It's not Don Julio. It's not Patron. There's multiple tequilas out there.
You already know.
Jose Cuervo is pretty much the grandfather, the main distiller, or the tequilero company. And so they're kind of have their hands on everything. So Jose Cuervo is not the best tequila here in the States, but I will tell you that Jose Cuervo is the main owner of pretty much a lot of the main tequila brands that you've come to love. So it's crazy. There's a lot more than what meets the eye. The stories of tequila are crazy. There's a lot of rich culture and families that are involved in the process of making it, distilling it, and creating this beautiful product. But it kind of just goes with the roots of being Mexican. Our people, our ancient ancestors were harvesting back then. Mezcal was the origination. Mezcal was the first thing that people were really distilling from the agave, and later they processed it into what is tequila now. But it's just a lot of culture, and that's kind of that culture is something I really hold near and dear to my heart. So that's why I figured it would make a great show, and also I get a drink. So that's
And the collection is amazing, by the way.
Thank you.
You saw that, all the yeah.
Even I like your intro too. How you share your screen and you show the intro to how you start your podcast. Yeah, I liked it. I was like, oh, that's pretty cool. Yeah, I like it. So props on that for sure.
Oh, thanks, man. I appreciate that. Thank you.
What would you I know there's so many to pick from, but if you had to pick a go-to, I know you say you wouldn't, but one that's like your favorite or means the most to you.
I think it's that one. I think it's the De La Torre Reserva, just because of, you know, it reminds me of home, and more than anything, just for the price, you can't top it. It's some of the best I've had. You know, there's others out there that I would drink. You know, probably my cousin who works at Glass Azul will be very pissed off that I didn't say that I would choose Azul, but you know, it's one of my favorites, so I'm gonna stick with it.
And then you said you can only find it in Mexico. Which part of Mezcala, verdad? Is it in Mezcala or Jalisco?
Definitely find it in Mezcala, but a major town that a lot of people will be more a little bit more familiar with is Tepatitlan. And Tepatitlan, an hour from Guadalajara Airport, and pretty much any store that's a tequilera that you drive past will have it. And if they don't have it, just call me. I'll put you in touch with somebody. So
that's what we like to hear.
What is like one of your favorite moments you've had while drinking tequila? Like a memory you had a good time.
My favorite moment, say it again, when?
Your favorite moment having tequila. Like, I know there's a lot, but one that you like.
I think one that really sticks in the back of my mind is just being out there in the ranchos of where my parents grew up. My parents grew up in a really small town called Mezcala, and it's a very beautiful place. It's in the Sierras and the mountains of Jalisco. So we have beautiful scenery up there. A lot of hills, a lot of greenery, and it was, probably I was young. I was probably in my early 20s, or like I probably wasn't even legal at the time. We'll keep that between us, but I think it was we were just kind of chilling, one of those days where you're not doing anything. Our phones didn't work. We didn't have a TV. We didn't have anything, and it was kind of like we were just enjoying tequila and just looking out at the beautiful view, and just kind of made me really just be grateful for where I'm from, where I came from, and be able to enjoy a really awesome drink from my region where my parents are from. So tequila just has a lot of it kind of has a lot more than just a meaning to me than just what it is for me. It brings up a lot of memories of my family, my friends, the culture, everything that I've come to love. Being Mexican for me is it's a great honor for me. So I'm really appreciative of the culture and just being Latino in general, and being part of a minority group that has so much culture throughout all Latin America and throughout the world. So for me, tequila is one thing that kind of just reminds me of being Mexican and how proud I am. And I think it was just that moment of looking out and just seeing the beautiful, scenic view. Just was like, yeah, I'm just eternally grateful for the opportunity that, I was, born Mexican, and being able to just have a little, just have a connection with my parents' hometown and stuff like that. It just really kind of just sticks with me, that moment. Just, being out in Mother Nature, not having any distractions. It was just a cool moment.
That's cool. Yeah. I know we're trying to be a little mindful of your time too. I know we're kind of. I know you're just out there.
No, be mindful of your guys' time. You guys keep asking questions. I'm gonna be here all day. So.
All right. I got two more, and then whatever you want to ask. Go ahead. Okay. So I know you say you were born in San Francisco, right?
Yeah.
So you spend basically your whole life here in the Bay?
Pretty much, yeah. I mean, I did go to LA a little bit. I got a lot of family down in LA as well. So that's where I was influenced to become a Laker fan, which I'm grateful for. But I've always been a Bay Area sports fan. But for me, the Lakers are something I hold near and dear to me. And that's one cool thing too, that I was able to kind of go out there and kind of get a little bit of their culture and a little bit of that rubbed off on me. But I was born in South San Francisco, Millbrae Hospital. My parents' first house was right down the street from the Cease Candy Factory in South San Francisco.
Nice.
And came out to Concord and Clayton and Walnut Creek, and they kind of fell in love with the, you know, beautiful Mount Diablo and the scenery you guys can see behind me right now. This is all Walnut Creek. But, you know, they kind of fell in love with beautiful trees out here and just the sea. You know, we actually have seasons out this way. And it is always
cold and rainy, huh?
Cold, rainy, foggy. So, you know, they love it out here. And when I was 5 or 6 years old, I was young. I did all my schooling was out this way, but, you know, I still had a lot of the ties to the city because all my family is there still to this day. But over the years, I've started to come and migrate that out this way as well. But yeah, pretty much born and raised in the Bay for sure.
All right.
That's right. Let's go.
Yeah, that's kind of like our foundation. Like, you know, we are the Bay's Fuego y Sonrisa podcast, so we try to bring value to everybody in the Bay, and also like to like ask people about the Bay. So I do got a question to you about the Bay. What is your favorite part about the Bay? I know you said the scenery, but like a location, a city, a certain time. Like, what is the best thing about the Bay?
You know, to be honest with you, I think for me, the best thing about the Bay is the culture and the diversity, and we're a melting pot of people. Like, shoot, like right now I can go get some amazing Thai food and then go and get some amazing Italian food, or go get some pupusa, some awesome Salvadoreño food, or whatever, like Cubano food, you name it. Like, I could go anywhere in the Bay and get something different. And I think that's the beauty of it. Like, there's so much of a huge melting pot out here, and you have just the ability to rub shoulders with some amazing people from different cultures. And I think more than anything, I think that's what makes the Bay the Bay. So that's why I love it.
What's that? Any question?
I have one. If you can leave a word of wisdom to like the younger generation, you talked about college, you know, always being there, but it's not right for everybody. What's something that you would tell somebody, you know, who's, you know, either graduating college or graduating high school? What's some words of wisdom that you can give them in order to achieve whichever goal they have?
Yeah, don't be afraid to fail. Don't be afraid to be vulnerable. Don't be afraid to be wrong, because, you know, your journey's barely beginning. You have a long journey ahead of you. College isn't the end, it's the beginning. You know, you're still gonna fail, you know, even after college. When I tell people go in and fail, do everything wrong, because ultimately for me, like, I didn't know what I wanted to do. Real estate kind of fell in my lap into something that was my calling, but I didn't know. I went to college thinking I knew what I was going to do, and started, you know, interning for different things and looking into different things, and it wasn't really what I wanted to do. So, you know, I think more than anything, you know, just go out and you know, just got to find what's right for you, and what makes you happy and what gets you amped up to go to work in the morning. And but yeah, I think, you know, failing's a part of success, you know, and it's, you know, it's not so much, you know, the aspect of failing. It's more so the teaching moment and what you gain from it. So yeah, I mean, yeah, you're going to fail. Don't be afraid of failing, but don't continue to fail, because ultimately what you're going to do is you're going to create this, you know, ongoing kind of reciprocal kind of, you know, process. It's ultimately like, all right, you failed. Like, what did you learn from that? And let's move on. Because if you're repeating over and over, that's the definition of insanity. Something repeating over and over and over again without a result. So ultimately, what you want to do is, you know, be always having a teaching moment for yourself. Be always willing to learn and grow from certain, you know, from certain people, from certain experiences, everything. I mean, I learn something every single day. I'm not perfect. I failed multiple times in my business and life. You know, ultimately, you just have to be able to kind of pick yourself back up again and say, all right, what happened? What went wrong? And how do I move on from it? And that's the hardest thing to do. That's the hardest thing to do, because people don't want to be wrong. People always want to be right. And so sometimes you got to recognize that, you know, you may not be right. Sometimes you need to recognize that you may need help. And at that point, you know, just try to move on and learn from it.
I appreciate those are some good words of wisdom, I think.
Well said.
Anything else you want to add?
I just have the speed questions.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So go ahead if you have anything.
That's a good way to end it.
All right. So normally what we do like towards the very end of the podcast is we do a speed, like, or rapid fire questions. I mean, so
Sure.
I'm gonna just have 5 for you, and if you have any, just shoot it from the hip. All right. So my first one is favorite color.
Oof, that's been changing over the years, man. Hey, go my default. My default is black. I stay black.
All right. Favorite number.
19.
Oh. Favorite wrestler growing up.
Ooh, man. Those are tough, bro. The Rock.
I know. I hear you.
Rock more than anything, because he's stayed true to himself, and he's from the Bay too. So shout out to the Rock.
Oh yeah, shout out the Rock. All right. Show or movie you just watched.
Ooh, I just watched the new Mortal Kombat. It was awesome.
Yeah. It was dope.
Again.
Yeah, that's for real. Favorite Bay Area artist or musician?
Ooh. Mac Dre.
Ooh, good. Classic. I hear you. I know there's so many, man.
Favorite sports team?
Ultimate. I was gonna say the man that's behind on your wall, because that's my favorite rapper.
Always.
But Bay Area, I got it, man. Rest in peace, Mac Dre. I got it.
Shout out to Mac. What's your favorite sports team? Last one. Niners?
Yeah.
That's how we do it.
Hell yeah.
Shoot to the red and black.
All right. And the last question is, where can people find you? Like online?
Yeah, I mean, if you guys can't find me online, I'm not paying the right people. Be able to find me online, just Ricky J Alvarez, or just hashtag Ricky the Realtor. I'm on IG at Ricky_the Realtor. But yeah, just Google me, Ricky J Alvarez, Boulevard Real Estate, or Ricky the Realtor. You should find me. Holler at me if you need me. If you guys need, just let me know.
All right, we'll put that in the description for the fans out there.
All right, for sure.
Perfect. And then for your tequila and transactions, how often does that come out? It comes out once a month, right?
It's once a month, usually the second or third Thursday of the month. I try to do it either second or third, but it all depends on my guests too, on their availability. But it's usually the second or third Thursday. If you guys go on my Instagram, I'll post it up on my story and on my walls. You guys can see when it's going to come up, and then I always have a link to actually watch previous episodes and watch the one that's going to come up live on my Instagram link there. So if you guys drop in my LinkedIn or my link tree, actually, you guys go on my link tree, you guys can go on there. I have links to all my other shows and also a link so you guys can go on and hop on my Facebook when it goes live, or just add me on Facebook. Just add my real estate page.
Okay.
Got notified.
All right. Thank you so much for coming on. We really appreciate you.
Hell yeah.
You gave us a lot of good advice. You tell us a little bit about yourself. You gave us, words of wisdom. I think everybody right here listening to this is going to gain some insight.
Yeah. One day we'll have tequila with you too.
Yeah.
That's the plan. We'll make it happen. Right.
Down.
You tell us and we'll do it. You just tell us when and we'll do it.
Yeah, we'll set it up for sure. Everything's getting better out there. So we'll set up a time. We'll meet up. We'll go out and grab a little tequila somewhere.
Oh yeah.
Sounds good.
Appreciate that.
We appreciate you, man. Thank you so much.
It was a pleasure.
Enjoy the rest of the golf course.
I will.
See ya. Have a good one, man.
See ya. Peace.